Guys, guys, we're back. Hey guys, it is RDS Old Man G here, back again for another at least UK anyway, latest Manchester United transfer news. Guys, I don't like to go live unless I get something so substantial. And to be fair, Fabrizio today has given us some updates to some of the stories that we talked about, specifically regarding Baleba and Donnarumma as well. Before we get into it, guys, remember, if you are new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter at United X and smash that notification button, etc., etc. So really looking forward. Hopefully, this will be a good show, guys, and that we'll basically be able to sort of discuss, a lot of good things, a lot of good things. So let me just, before I get in, let me just quickly lead into the chat. So big Hamza, hope we sign both. Hamza, United need to get rid of Onana, replacing him with Donnarumma. Well, we'll talk about that today. And also Rob in the chat saying big up, hope it's good. I'm doing well, buddy. I hope you are doing well as well. And big up SSB is also in chat as well. Thank you much for joining as well. So as you can see, we'll just get straight into it and start with Fabrizio's latest update regarding Carlos Baleba. As you know, for those who were watching yesterday, Indy Cali was the guy who initially broke the Baleba news. David Ornstein retweeted him, so that gave it the credibility. And now Fabrizio is basically adding, I think I would argue, further credibility to this. As Fabrizio is saying now, Manchester United plan for new talks for Carlos Baleba in upcoming days. Man United believe Baleba is keen on the move and personal terms won't be an issue. So it has effectively been agreed. Contacts follow on Brighton's side as deal is very difficult, but United will try. So it's a difficult deal, and I think we already know that it's a difficult deal because I think currently right now, because of our lack of sales. And I think, as I told you guys yesterday, and Sergen says, I think it will be 95 million plus 5 million pounds, possibly. But I think that, that again, a lot of this is going to be tied, and much like I'm going to say about Donnarumma as well, to United's ability to be able to be able to what am I trying to say? Be able to sell. If United are able to sell Højlund and Garnacho, I think that we'll obviously have the ability to be able to sign Donnarumma and Baleba. But as we'll talk about, because there have been some updates regarding Garnacho, certain comments that we'll make that I'd be interested to see what you guys' thoughts are on, and I'll put a poll on that as well. I don't know. I feel like this Baleba deal, if it's going to be done, is going to be a deal that's going to be done closer to deadline day, because close to deadline day, you will be seeing what the reality for Højlund is, what the reality for Sancho is, what the reality for Garnacho is, what the reality for Anthony is. In theory, if all those players go, I think we can get both of those players. But can they? That is the question. Can they actually go? Indy Cali is not a real reporter, but somehow it's hitting money on. Yeah, I for me, as far as I'm aware, this guy is the only reason why I'm even quoting the guy is because David Ornstein, who I respect as a journalist, retweeted Indy Cali, who broke the initial Carlos news. So now I'm kind of like, well, he must clearly know something. So he's my reference point right now. The guy put Liverpool fans for a spin many times. I'm sure he did. But I think Manchester United get Baleba. I mean, I hope so. And like I said, it's if I was to dissect this tweet from Fabrizio, obviously personal terms, the big thing that broke yesterday was about the fact that, by the way, guys, if you're new, like the vid, subscribe on you as well. It helps with the algorithm as well and to get new people. So please do like the vid. I think the biggest thing, worry for me, as it was broke yesterday, was Manchester City. Because if Manchester City we were like, how come Manchester City are selling Savio for 60 mil to Spurs? Unless, you know, and it was written almost like Savio didn't want to go. He was being forced out. So why would Manchester City, just bear with me, guys, think through this logic. Why would Manchester City, who just signed Savinho, and if Savinho has not really said that he's wanted to go or leave the club, why would Manchester City suddenly want to say, right, we've got to sell him for maybe 50 or 60 mil to Spurs? Why? The only reason why I can think that City would do that is because they also want to go for Baleba. And Baleba is what? A DM. And who is also a DM? Rodri. But Rodri got injured. So I would not be surprised if City get the deal for Savinho done. I would not be surprised to see City bid for Baleba. Watch this space, because I know we're talking about personal terms are going to be an issue. Yeah, there won't be an issue because right now Manchester United are the only club that seem to be in talks with Baleba, but that doesn't mean that City can't get in talks. And of course, if they sell Savinho for that amount of money, City will have no qualms in saying, right, here's £100 million. They won't. City will have no qualms in being able to find that money to do the deal. Whereas I think United are going to have the problem. Garnacho cannot well on the bench, and I'm sorry that you. We'll talk about Garnacho in a second because yeah, I've seen the tweet that he's put. But we'll talk about that. United need Donnarumma, get rid of Onana. Well, we'll talk about that as well later. Big up Radjet, hope you're doing well. Will Onana or to leave? No, I think they'll all stay. If Donnarumma, if we do go for Donnarumma, I think they both will stay. Especially when you consider that Onana is going to be going to AFCON. So a lot of you saying Donnarumma will choose United. He might. I mean, he might choose United, but we'll talk about that in a Donnarumma section in a second. But my worry right now is Manchester City. I'll be honest. My worry right now is it's clear, from this tweet and others that Manchester United do want Baleba. I've been asking, and I'm querying, maybe you guys in the chat, like, because it would be weird for Manchester United to not have backup midfielders. Okay, the new a thing for United is not to be taken for a ride, is to sort of, if you don't want it, we'll move. That's what they do with getting Amorim. I don't think it's what they did with a striker. I think we're desperate. But I mean, this seems to be, if we want, you don't want, we'll move on. We'll move on to other targets. So my question is, what are Manchester United's other midfield targets? Is it like people like Adam Wharton with Crystal Palace? But I'd imagine like he's going to be a pretty penny from Palace. He's still got a few years left in his contract. I don't think that Palace would sell him for cheap. So I'm curious what the other midfielder options are. Personally, I'm sorry, he's not the next. I assume this is referring to Garnacho. There'll be very few people that could be the next one now, to be honest. Second, Manchester City are getting Rodrigo, and plus City are trying to trim their squad, so adding another midfielder is too much. Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, it's still speculation on my part, but I just found the whole thing a bit weird. I also think the Rodrigo thing is still there, but like, they've also let Grealish go. So I know they want to trim the squad, but I also think it's a fair point that Pep might be thinking, listen, I know what happened to Rodrigo last season. Sorry, to Rodri last season when he wasn't there, and we struggled. Rodri's got a significant injury. He's not going to be available for quite some time. And I don't really think City have anyone that can really play there properly. So the point I'm trying to make is that with everything that's going on with City, I would not be surprised if they put in a bid for Baleba. while we're basically faffing around trying to sell Onana, Garnacho, Anthony, Sancho, all the rest of it to sort of generate funds, City will basically just do what they do in silence. This is what other clubs do because United get a lot of the media attention, whereas Liverpool and City, to a certain extent, are able to just conduct the transfer business without it being the source of major headlines. Well, there was talk about Baleba. There is a lot of talk about Baleba. Sounds promising, but like you say, G, Man City will probably bid for him. The guy, he is the real deal. Like I said, for me, if we sign him, if we sign Baleba, I'll have a lot more confidence going into this season. A lot more confidence, and if we can sell Højlund and Garnacho to raise funds to go for him, I'll have way more confidence. I still think we need a goalkeeper, and this is why I said if we get Gianluigi and Baleba, I'm going to have a lot more confidence going on to the season. A lot more confidence. I'll be very much like, right, okay, we should at least be competing for top 5 with those signings. And if Amorim can't deliver top 5 with this squad and with this amount spent, maybe he's not the guy. Do not think Manchester City gets Rodrigo. I'm not sure whether. I don't know. I still think that's still. I think the problem with when it's the same thing where I think Vinny has mentioned it as well. I feel like the problem with Real Madrid, especially with players that do come out, is that a lot of the time, it comes across as the players want to demand certain terms. So, new contract comes up or something, they want to demand what they want. Real Madrid players do this all the time, and Perez, into his credit, is often very like, yeah, okay, if you want to go, you can go. I can get someone else. So I'm not sure whether I can take. I feel like a lot of it, when you look at it, is just more the players posturing to Real Madrid, as opposed to they desperately want to play in the Premier League. At least that's what I think. I just think that I don't think Rodrigo or Vinny actually want to leave Madrid. I just think that they may be unhappy with how they spoke about the media. They want a bit more recognition, different things like that. That's what I think. Like and subscribe. Yes, guys, if you're new, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devils 2 Joe, bottom right-hand corner, please. We're only 10 subs away from 4.5, 4.5 subscribers. So almost 500 subscribers away from 5K, guys. So please help a brother out. Like and subscribe to the channel. Share it with your mates. And of course, we will try and produce the content. It is still just me right now, but you know what, guys? Like if there's more people that get involved, we can do more shows, we can do more things, more stuff can happen on the channel. So let me know. Do Man City need? They need someone to replace Rodri, probably. I don't know who's a Macatatus. RDS is Garnacho. Yes, Atonement. Garnacho is on the docket. Garnacho is definitely on the docket. Garnacho is on the docket. We're going to talk a bit more about Baleba in a second. And then we're gonna In fact, I might address the Garnacho stuff before the Donnarumma stuff, to be honest, because the thing with Garnacho is interesting. And I'll put up a poll in a second, actually. Yeah. Let me touch the Garnacho stuff before the Donnarumma stuff. So it both, again, players that I see who are problematic for their teams. Very, very, very problematic. But there you go. People talk about the agenda stuff, but Tobity scored 7 league goals for Manchester United from midfield. Not good enough. Rasmus scored 4 league goals for us. So I'll start number 9. I really want him to stay. It's when you hear stat like that, like McTominay scored more goals from midfield in the previous season than Rasmus did. It doesn't surprise me given what McTominay did, So, but this is what I'm saying. I remember when McTominay left, and I remember saying when I saw that we just, I think, signed Xerxes, I was just like, please, a 10. I was like, who's going to score the goals? I knew going into the season when we let McTominay go, I was like, McTominay came clutch so many times, scoring goals from deep. Who's going to score the goals? Ten Hag knew it, and now, you know, we're in a situation where we bought Ugarte because we need a DM, but I don't even really know where Ugarte fits. I didn't even really know where Ugarte fitted even before. So, you know, so there we go. Let me see I'm just want to the Garnacho stuff, man. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic about Baleba. It would be a massive, massive signing, given his age, the potential. It would be a big signing for me if we get Baleba. And like I said, I think it would. Sorry, guys. I think it would really strengthen us going forward. That midfield for me is the biggest issue with Manchester United so far. I mean, we've yet to obviously see. Ronaldo's engaged. Interesting. We've yet to really see Sesko play, and it's always possible that he could be a flop. However, I don't know. I'm a little bit, a little bit worried. But at the same time, you know, so I am hopeful. Yeah, so I'm a little bit tired, guys. So apologies if my thoughts are slow. Rajat V says Bayern need a new midfielder. Wouldn't be surprised. I don't think Bayern do, but I don't think Bayern are going to spend 100 million to get Bayern. I'm not that club where they'll spend 100 million playing get bullied by Brighton. No. Atonement, would you take Donnarumma on high wages if it means he comes? He's on high wages in PSG now. Part of the problem now in PSG, and I don't think he would drop if he goes to United. Yeah. I would if we can get our outgoings. If we can get our outgoings, there's no problem. You know, if United can get their outgoings, there's no real problem as far as for me as far as the wages go. You know, I mean, he's on I think he's on 250 from what I know. He's on 250. So if he's happy to maybe get 200, I think that's fine. But I feel like we need the outgoings. That's what I think. Why PSG ended? Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a bit strange. I'll come to it. We'll come to it. Makati from Man City Academy. Okay. What's the story with 120 million for Baleba, lads? I mean, I'm gonna Martin, if you're watching. To be honest, that seemed to come from like a random Twitter user who said it's now going to be 112. Ornstein didn't say it. Indy Cali, who apparently isn't know about Baleba, didn't say it. And although I will quickly go to let me quickly go to Indy Cali's. I like to show you why I use Twitter for these things instead of is that I like to show you guys where these, because most of this news is coming to Twitter. So I like to show you who's saying it, why they're saying it, are they reliable or not, and what the comments are. So I'm just going back to Indy Cali's. He's not, I don't know, he's not a journalist, but he just seems to. Obviously, Grealish has gone to Everton. The last thing Indy Cali put about is the same thing. Verbal, asked to go to United, personal terms, all this different sort of stuff like that. Bryson won't nudge on the fees. So, yeah. I don't see where it's the official story is 112. I think that's just Twitter talk. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's close to 100 mil. Really, the key is to this transfer is going to come to how much the player wants to leave and go to another club. Brighton, I expect, wants a bidding war. Brighton want a bidding war between United and City, and therefore they can get. It's the same reason that they had with Caicedo and different things. They want a bidding war for this player. Like they're quite happy to sell the guy. It's just like, yeah, but whereas if it's just one club after him and he decides, right, okay, I want to force a move, then Brighton are in a more powerless position because then suddenly he's not going to be able to sign a new contract, or he won't want to sign a new contract, just like Isak isn't doing in Newcastle. And he, you risk him, not performing, harming the team, different things like that. So yeah, we'll see. Let Rasmus go to AC Milan. He will get confidence. Yeah, I mean, we had a. I'm just going back to the poll. About 90% of you say he'll choose United over Chelsea. That would be interesting. We had a poll yesterday about Rasmus. A lot of people, actually, in fairness, a lot of people said that they wanted Rasmus to actually either go on loan or to stay. Only about 35% of the community actually thought that we should sell Rasmus. With everyone else, it was very mixed. 35, 35, 35, buy, sell, loan. It was very, very, very mixed. So let's see. Crypto Singh says the only problem I see with getting Donnarumma at the stage of the window is that we would someone need to sell Onana or risk causing goal unrest. Remember the De Gea Henderson disaster. Yeah. But what I would say though, for that is that I think it's helpful that Onana has AFCON. One, Onana's injury is just coming back, but two, that Onana has AFCON. So Onana will be away for a good month or so. But you're right. It's why I think that because right now, if you sign Donnarumma, you've got Heaton, who's more of a coach, to be fair, Baendis, and Onana. And I feel like one of those guys has got to go. One of the guys is going to be sold. But there's no murmurings so far on the other guys, only really Onana. And we've not really heard of anyone really putting a bid or being interested in Onana right now. That's just the case. Yeah, it's the other thing as well is that, like, Donnarumma is a good goalkeeper, but I do think he is kind of overrated. Like, he does make PSG won this championship, I don't think because of him. I thought they won it in spite of him, although he made some key saves. He does have quite a few mistakes in him. He made quite a few mistakes in Liga, in the Championship, etc. So he's not error-proof. And I think if you're now going to be a situation where he's now going to be facing a lot more shots, because you've got to understand, Donnarumma's in a PSG side where they dominate the league and are quite strong in the Champions League. So how many shots is he actually going to be facing? You then go from that team to a team at Manchester United where you're going to be facing more shots in the league, and then suddenly you come into problems. Getting very excited about Sesko. He got the same shirt as them. So, well, I hope so. We'll see what Sesko does. I am going to be live for the Arsenal watch on this week. We're going to be doing the season preview. The season preview will be on Friday. So get involved with that. My friend Eddie Talks Football will be on as well, so season review will be there, and then we'll get started, guys. There's 40 people watching. Come on, get those likes up, guys. I really appreciate it if you can get those likes up. 40 people watching, guys. You can get those likes up and subscribe if you're new. Bottom right hand corner, it makes a difference. We're on the road to 5K. Roger, didn't they say it's difficult with regards to Liverpool, Chelsea, and Caicedo? Yes, yeah. This is going to be, but it can be done, and this is the thing, and I think we will do it. If the limiting factor to this deal is not whether United can do it, is who else is going to be involved. Because if we come to a situation where City go into the ring, that's when it becomes difficult. What United don't want, as we've seen with many players United have gone for, is a bidding war. A bidding war would not be ideal, like, whatsoever. Let me just quickly, I want to see, I'm going to finish reading some of your comments, but then I also want to now talk about Garnacho before we go to Donnarumma, because there's a bit of breaking news, actually. Fabrizio has just shared this about 3 minutes ago about Garnacho. So a bit of breaking news regarding Garnacho. So share this tab. Only a few minutes ago. So we might as well move to the Garnacho story of things. So Richard says Chelsea step up talks for Alejandro Garnacho. Club-to-club discussions with Manchester United are now well underway. Garnacho only wants Chelsea. Personal terms are agreed, and the two clubs are in negotiable fee. Garnacho expects to become Chelsea player this summer. I mean, it's maybe it's Fabrizio doing this, so, but like, yeah, we've kind of known that that was going to be the case. You know, it was always going to be, um, you know. So I don't think this is. This kind of tweet is like, this is it's obviously it's official because it's coming from Fabrizio, but at the same time it's also essentially like a long held secret. You know, Garnacho wants to go to Chelsea. I am curious whether I am curious the kind of the fascination. I don't know if it's because they won the Club World Cup now, so they're now the kind of the new sexy team. I don't know whether it's because there's a lot of young players, you know, so you know it's London. I don't know what I really don't know what the appeal is for Chelsea right now. Maybe they're playing the Champions League. Like I said, I don't know. You know, but what I do know is that, you know, I and I've spoken to Chelsea fans about this, is that I generally don't know where this guy's going to start. I generally don't know where this guy, where's he going to start? You know, where's he going to start for Chelsea? So it's the same thing with Sancho. They all came and they went there and all like, yeah, we're going to, you know, get paid 200, stuff like that. I'm going to do this. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I generally don't get it. It's a shame with Garnacho because he came through the ranks of Manchester United. We gave him the platform. Yes, I think the you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be very it's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know. In fact, let me, before I go to back to comments, let me solve the poll. Okay, so 85% do you think that Donnarumma will choose United over Chelsea? Now, let me put up the Garnacho poll. So if we, so let me think of the question. Okay, should Garnacho be sold at any cost? Now, emphasize this: any cost. Oh wait, no. Okay, no. Let me just. Should Garnacho be sold for less than 40 million? And I'm saying this question because that's what Chelsea. That's how Chelsea view him. So yes, no, and then rot in reserves, because that's basically what we, you know, those are basically the options. Should he actually go for less than 40 million? I think that Garnacho's worth 60. I think I actually would just put him away with all the Premier League experience that he has. He's going less for, like, Anthony Elanga. I think we sold him for 20 to 30, and he went to Newcastle, I think, for 50 now. You know, Nicholas Jackson is potentially going for 80 if Newcastle want a striker. And we're in a situation where we're going to let Chelsea, our rival, get one of our most talented players. I'll bet a player that has fallen out with current management for less than 30 with no buyback clause. Okay, or maybe if you're not going to want to buy him back, a sell-on clause. No, I just think that's odd. I think that's odd. Let's have a look at this comments now. Baleba should be, Thomas Baleba should be around 100k. He's not as developed as Cosodi, who went for more. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I do think that I do think that, and he's only on 12.5k a week now. I see no reason why he needs to go for he needs to be on any more than 100k. I definitely agree. Second. Remember, guys, if you're new, hit that like button, please. Hit that like button. Martin Frey, his choice is Manchester United. Okay, I think that's one good to Donnarumma. Thanks for your answer. No problem, Martin. No problem, mate. No problem. Roger, loan out Altalai or as a Bienta and try getting Lemons as a developing goalkeeper. I mean, that's a fair point, but he's got to agree to the loan. He's got to agree to that, and will Bienta agree? I'm not 100% sure. Sintes Santos Flo says Lemons would be better prospect for a future than Donna. I mean, that is true. Although you've got to remember, Donnarumma is only 25, 26. Like, he's not like old, but he's not like young either. Like a 25, 26 goalkeeper, like, you know, that's still, because when we talk about the long run, like, that's still a goalkeeper that, like, how old was Van der Sar when he was in goal for us? He was in like his late 30s, I think. I'm sure he was pushing 40, you know. So Donnarumma at 26, if he's actually good, could still be United like a decade, you know. So he's not as old as people think. So I think that there's no, I think that you know, if you've got a young, already experienced goalkeepers on lot, you know, you go for him. Give Adrian Onana one more year if he gets us believer. Well, he spoke to because the Cameroonian, he spoke to what's his name, Mbeumo. We're getting a Cameroonian spine here, goalkeeper, midfielder, and a striker. You know, so but yeah, if somehow Onana could convince a Baleba to come and to push him down, you know, then so be it. Get Adrian Onana on it. Garnacho wants to stay in England. Yeah, he does. That's part of the problem. But I guess it's because he's been here for a while. I can see us getting Donnarumma on a season loan. Then he signs permanent next season. That is an option. I think if we could discuss with PSG and say, listen, but then the thing is, though, is that it's the only problem that I have with that, Rob, is that it will be very, very bad for goalkeeping morale if you're signing Donnarumma on loan and yet you have free, although he doesn't really count because he's more of a coach. But you know, Bienda and you know are there? They're there full time. You know, Bienda and Onana are there full time, and yet you're signing Donnarumma on a loan. So I don't know. I think that this harmony and disunity would not be ideal. I think so. For me, it's like you got to sell one. Now, what you do is you get Bienda or one of those guys on loan. I think that's what happens. That's what you do. But getting Donnarumma on loan, I'm not sure. Let's get those likes up, guys. Let's get those likes up, guys. By the way, I probably need some new mods. So if you're interested in becoming a mod for the channel, please let me know. It's just a little bit difficult sometimes keeping track of all the comments and doing the show as well. So if you want to be a mod, just post a message in the chat. So I'll review things. But yeah, that's why I see it, Rob. I think it makes more sense to loan one of our goalkeepers out than for us to loan Donnarumma in, because I just think that will just create tension. Isn't Garnacho 21? Stick him in the under 21s if he somehow stays. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? To be honest, I just don't. I don't get it. I mean, you know, obviously different players falling out with different managers. You know, Sancho fell out with, and a few people fell out with Ten Hag. People fell out with Amorim already. But at least with Rashford, he's tried to get himself a move, and he took a wage cut. You know, I would rather be in a situation where Garnacho goes out on loan to Chelsea if they're going to say that, but he's not going to be United in the summer. That is a fact now. Apparently, they have a good vape shop. Maybe that's it. Maybe they have that. That's it. See, this is the thing. I think that there's this sort of like idea that because Chelsea have a lot of young players, because they're in London, because they've won some stuff recently, that they're kind of like a vibes club. That the environment is that. But what I see in Chelsea is that they're signing a lot of young players, turning over profits, and it's a competitive team to get into. It's a competitive team to get into. So as I said, you know, it's funny because Garnacho, I mean, okay, yes, in Amorim's system, I can't see where Garnacho would be right now, but I also can't see where he'd be in Chelsea's system. Where's he gonna, you know, this is especially true when you consider that Chelsea are going for Xavi Simons. So I'm like, where's he gonna play? Okay, and Kuku and Jackson are gone, but you've got Chelsea have got João Pedro, they've got Cole Palmer, they've got I'm even forgot their wingers. Not Madueke because he's gone to Arsenal. Who else have they got? Winger wise, I've got had a mind melt. Forgotten. I know they do have them, but yeah, the point, and obviously they've let Sterling go and a few others. So I guess they. Oh, sorry, they had they got Neto, isn't it? They got Neto, who's one of them. Mikhailo Mudryk, I don't know what's happened to him, but he's basically gone. So maybe they do need him as a backup. I don't know. Maybe. Assuming he's happy to cut his wages. Get the likes of everyone and subscribe if you want. Yeah, please do, guys. Follow that. Get the likes up, please. Get them up. Please. Santos flow, but Enzo put in a good word on Garnacho because they're both Argentinians. I mean, yeah, he did do that. So, but to be honest, attitude wise, it's just really not worked for us with Garnacho, and I don't know why, and it's sad. Ghana at least 50 million just to get exactly. I mean, in fact, let's go back to that poll. You know, look, yeah, you know, should Garnacho be sold for less than 40 million? You know, most of you say no, and I agree. You know, I know we need to raise funds. I need to get, but it's criminal because I know for a fact if he does well at Chelsea, you know, Chelsea, if they do intend to sell him, will be able to sell this guy for double. They'll somehow be able to sell it. So if we're going to sell him for 40 mil, we need to put a sell-on clause. United need to put a sell-on clause onto this deal. Otherwise, it's going to bite us in the back. You know, we put a sell-on clause in for Elanga, and also for every young player that we sell should have a sell-on clause. So we put in a sell-on clause for Elanga, and I think part of the reason why we've got a bit more money is that obviously Elanga got sold from Forest to Newcastle. We got some money from that, and Alvaro went from Benfica to Madrid. We also got money for that as well. Every young player needs a sell-on clause, and if Garnacho's going to go, you put a sell-on clause because I've got no doubt in the future he was going to be sold for 60 or 80 mil, and we can at least recuperate some of that money. We'll get. I don't know, Rajit. I don't know. If they're Chelsea fans in the chat, let me know. I said it on the Football Hut. Man United are the most popular football clubs for African-based players. That is true. But then at the same time, I don't know if City comes calling. Is that still the case? I don't know. Is that still the case? I don't know. But it's Cameroon. He's African. You know, so maybe that'll be enough. Maybe it'll be enough. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure. We want 56 million. Garnacho can leave. I mean, what are people's general thoughts about Garnacho's comments? You know, so I mean, basically, I'll just quickly share the United stand image. He basically said, "Message Manchester United, Chelsea, or I stay here and don't play football for 6 to 12 months." You know, what were people's? I mean, he's gone anyway. He's going anyway. But if Chelsea are going to continue to take the mick and give 30, 33, what do actually people think about this statement? I think it just epitomizes for me the issue of the modern footballer. You know, it's weird because, you know, you see how Ahmad was treated under Ten Hag and not given up time and was frustrated, but he never went on Twitter and never, you know, threw up a fuss. Xerxes was booed by Manchester United fans, and yet, you know, he turned it around. So I don't really understand this behavior, to be honest. I don't think he needs to publicly call the manager into question. unlike Rashford, where I think Ruben Amorim was very much like, nah, you're gone, there's no repairs, you're going to go away. It really seemed that Ruben Amorim was interested in using Garnacho. He was. He, unlike Rashford's expelled team, Garnacho was in the team. He noticed two things. But I don't, and I agree. I don't agree with Amorim's selection decision for the final. I think that cost him, has cost his club quite a bit. But there is a way that you go about it, and Garnacho clearly has not. So there you go. Most African-born nationals would play for EPL teams and Spanish teams. I think that's fairly true. Adias, okay, yes, I will. I will make you a mod. I will make you a mod atonement. Thank you so much. Let's do. I can even do that now, actually, before I forget. There you go. That will help me. There we go. So there you go. There you go. That's helped me. So thank you, Toma, for volunteering. I appreciate it. There's 50 people in the chat. Hit like, yeah, exactly. If you can encourage that, Atonement, I appreciate it. This is interesting. Why we're going to win to sit out in a World Cup year? I think he's clearly bluffing. He's clearly bluffing. Because is he even rated that high in Argentina? Like, with the players that Argentina have, is he even going to be in the Argentinian squad? Maybe. I don't know. I'm just saying. I would imagine that Messi's going to be there for obvious reasons, as is Martinez from Inter. And I guess I'm just trying to think of Argentina's front 3 or 4 options right now, and I can't think of any right now. So maybe he does go, but I don't know. 21st Century Football says Garnacho is just a massive brat. Want him gone. He is Chelsea's problem to deal with. He's not good either, man. Yeah, I mean, I think the frustrating thing with Garnacho is that yes, he's a skilled player, but his intelligence, his decision making is not great. So is he going to just think that he's going to go? This is the thing I don't get sometimes. That do you think you're going to just go to Chelsea and just showboat and then that's fine? Do you think Maresca's going to be happy with just you showboating? And as good as Sancho was at Chelsea, I think he did okay. At the end of the day, Chelsea didn't sign him because they didn't think, or they didn't value his contributions as worth the wages that he demanded. So this is the kind of thing. It's like, are players, they just buy into their hype, but actually, are you as valuable as you say you are? Probably not. 50 mil. He wants in 50 mil per year. He wants in on tournaments. So he determines his contract. Don't care, but if that furthermore can make us add up to believe it. Well, this is the thing. It's like, do you sell him? Forget it. Cross the I's, dot the T's, just cut off, and then you take the money and you hope that, because obviously the Garnacho money is going to be pure profit. Garnacho will be pure profit, so that is definitely something that will take a lot of off the transfer bill from a PSR point of view, because it's just because he's from the academy, it's just pure profit, to the club. So, if you can say we can negotiate Baleba down to say 80, 90 mil, and then you sell Garnacho for 40 mil, for example, which is what United want, and then somehow you get Højlund out, and you say you put a buy-on clause about 30 mil, then suddenly Baleba, I think, becomes a lot more realistic. Difficult, but more realistic. G, can I help if two of you know? Yes, I'm trusting. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I think to you and Atonement, I think that's cool, man. I'll make you there we go. That'll be useful. So your mod as well, Rob. Thank you so much. Both of you obviously have been regulars as well and have been supportive channels. So thanks, guys. And with you and Fred FC Club. Big up, big up, Fred, man. Big up, Fred. Right, let's quickly move to a final topic, which is about Donnarumma. Yep, get those likes up, guys. Sorry. So let's quickly talk about Donnarumma, because this story I think came out just a few hours ago. And I'll quickly share this tab also from Fabrizio. Fabrizio's been very busy today. Paris Saint-Germain exclude now. I don't know. I have to speak to a PSG fan, maybe PSG United or someone. But it's really weird for me that PSG have just completely excluded Donnarumma from. It's just odd. Sorry. Unless like there's been a falling out behind the scenes, and Donnarumma has done that. He did it at AC Milan. They spent quite a bit of money to get him. In fact, what was Donnarumma's transfer fee? I'm gonna have a quick look. I don't think it was cheap. Donnarumma, AC Milan fee. Yeah, so he signed Donnarumma PSG fee. Oh, where is it? Let's see. I keep on talking about the current offer now, but what did he actually go for before? Oh, it was a free transfer. Okay, it was a free transfer because he couldn't agree with AC Milan for it was a free transfer. Okay, it was a free transfer. So that is interesting. That is interesting because I think it gives us a bit of foresight into what might happen with this Donnarumma story. As Fabrizio has said, Donnarumma will not sign a new deal at PSG. There's no agreement, and he will leave the club this summer or in 2026 as free agent. Gigio's camp for this unfair situation for the goal. And it is. It is. I don't, like I said, a PSG fan is going to have to explain to me why they're doing this. Because, he's not a bad goalkeeper. I know you have to think about the future, but like, you're basically creating a completely new number one who isn't tested yet. And he's, Donnarumma, for all intents and purposes, has done well for PSG. So it is quite odd. I do find it very, very, very strange. But this is good news to Manchester United. The question is, would he come to Manchester United? And that's the key thing here. I think when you look at the fact that he left AC Milan free, I think personally, especially given the fact that Manchester United, fund-wise, are a bit of a challenge, and this might have to be done at the end. If we are the only way I see United going for Donnarumma is if we offload our deadwood, i.e., Sancho's gone, Anthony's gone, Højlund's gone, Garnacho's gone. All those players are gone, and when those players have gone, then we, then and only then do I think that we'll somehow be able to potentially sign a Donnarumma. But obviously, the wages have got to be something book as well. So if I'm honest, I just think that that he's probably going to go. I think he's just going to be on the bench because you never know what's going to happen. You never know. A manager gets sacked, people change. You don't know. A year is a long time in football, as they say. But I think I have a feeling, especially because of how stubborn he is, that he's probably going to go for a free next summer. The question, though, is where would he go? Because, like I said, a year's a long time in football. Things change. The only clubs right now that I see, I mean, maybe Bayern if they want to replace Neuer, maybe. But Donnarumma is not exactly that kind of sweeper keeper type. I don't know. So, but Bayern could potentially be an option. Barca to replace the Stegen, again, potentially an option. He could go back to Italy, of course. And then in the Premier League, Liverpool and City are fine. Newcastle, I think, are probably okay as well because Nick Pope's pretty solid, in fairness to him. So it really would be, and Arsenal, they've spent enough money on goalkeepers. So it really would be Chelsea or United going for it, I think. But let's see what happens. 5 lakhs away from 30. Don't forget, yes. 30 people was watching. Please engage with the content. It says that it goes a long way. We're only 7 subscribers from 4.5k, so please get us there, guys. I don't think Donnarumma's good with his features. I think it's. I mean, yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's one of the reasons why I've seen him make mistakes. Is his feet and distribution is not the best. So whereas Chevalier is. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. With PSG, sorry. Oof. Sorry. Gonna have to round up in about 5 minutes. We're almost close to the hour mark. So because I am exhausted. Unless there's some breaking news that's coming out soon. Then we'll obviously continue to go live, you know. With PSG kicking Donnarumma out of the squad, do you think we could get him even cheaper than what PSG wants to get Donnarumma off the drinks? Like I said, I think, well, I mean, PSG are backed by a state, so I suspect they don't really care that much about the money. To be honest, it's really more the player. You know, PSG were like, we've got plenty of money, especially having won the Champions League. Our thing right now is, are you part of the project or not? And I think as it's looking like right now, it will come to, much like with Baleba, what the competition is. You know, what is the competition? Because Chelsea, I don't know how strong it is, because, you know, as Maresca said he's happy with Robert Sanchez. The only thing I would say though is that Luigi is Italian, and I think isn't Maresca Italian as well? I think Maresca Italian as well, so maybe there'll be Italian bias there. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but it's not like, from what I've seen on Chelsea Twitter, it's not like so far. It's just been okay. Need to get Garnacho, need to get Xavi Simons. Would they then have enough? I think if certain outgoings go, maybe they might. Like, for example, if they sell Jackson for like 80 mil, then okay, suddenly they've got a lot of more money as well. But yeah, we'll see. I just think that a lot of this comes to competition. You know, in the case of Donnarumma, United versus Chelsea, I think Donnarumma, unfortunately, as the ad, he probably would choose Chelsea. In the case of Baleba, Man United versus Man City, I think that's where it gets a bit more tricky. Sandro saying, "Big up, buddy. Hope you're well, RDS. Good to hear from you, buddy." Clubs looking at Donnarumma. Man United, Chelsea into Juventus. Yeah, exactly. I did mention that, like, I think Italian clubs are interested. I'd be curious to know what his preference is. Reports do seem to suggest he prefers a move to the Premier League. I suspect because he's still young, you know, potentially a payday, because at the end of the day, the salaries of the Premier League are going to be far, far higher. Let's keep it a stack. A lot of the Premier League into Premier Leagues, it's because, especially when you're in your mid-20s, is because of the wages. You're not going to get, if you get a Premier League contract on £100,000 a week, you're not going to get that unless you're one of the best players in either Barca, Madrid, or Bayern Munich, and potentially PSG. And he's leaving PSG. And I don't think that the three teams are actively seeking a new goalkeeper right now. So yeah. If Amorim were to switch to a back four, then Donnarumma makes sense. Yeah, that is true. But he's not. Amorim is not going to be switching to a back four anytime soon. I think it's back through or die. It's his philosophy, so it's my philosophy, and if you don't accept the philosophy, well, it sucks to be you. So I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. 3 likes from away from Mountain. Yep, 3 likes, guys, and obviously hit that subscribe button, bottom right hand corner, please. We're still about 7 subs away from 4.5, so please hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. Yeah, it's. I would also argue, you can make a case. Is it even a priority? Is it even a priority? Is it before? I'm not 100% sure yet. But if you told me at the beginning of the season that we would have had this, we'd have sorted out the attack and focused on getting a decent midfielder, because for whatever reason you can't seem to get a lot out of Mainu or Collier for that role, fine. And then you get a goalkeeper with that as well. I think that's a very, very good transfer window. As it stands now, I think it's an okay transfer window because we've fixed the well, I say okay, I say solid because we fixed the attacking situation, but we also but as you can see, the midfield situation at United is a problem, and that hasn't been fixed and might cause problems when we start in the Premier League. Either Lamans or Donnarumma are good options, but there will be more pressure on Donnarumma to deliver on the ball. Yeah, exactly. My biggest issue with Donnarumma is that thing on the ball. And in the Premier League, which is a much more physical league, where people, especially strikers, will pounce. I just think that there'll be a lot of pressure on him. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Donnarumma to, I think what a lot of people don't seem to appreciate about Onana is that how much pressure really is on you on the ball as a goalkeeper when you're playing in Serie A and when you're playing in La Liga. I don't think it's as much as it would be in the Premier League. So yes, people want Gianluigi, but don't be surprised if he comes to the Premier League and suddenly he feels a lot more pressure from opponents and starts to make a lot more mistakes. I would not be surprised if he came in and then it's like, right, okay, this guy's he's a good shot stopper in terms of penalties, but I wouldn't be surprised if he makes mistakes with all the pressure that will be put under him during the game, Rob, the point you made before, we need to get rid of the Deadwood ASAP to accommodate midfielder and maybe new keeper. Yeah, exactly. Deadwood gone, we get it, but if not, but we have to do it soon, because the longer it goes on, the more likely you will have teams that want to compete for the players that we're after. It's as simple as that. United get the players. Okay, yes, the Newcastle, can we compete with Newcastle to get Sesko? But I mean, Newcastle's a bit different. They're not a top club as of yet. So, or they won a trophy obviously last season. So, but sorry. Oh, sorry. It was really weird. I mean, how many England clubs won trophies last year? Liverpool won the league, Crystal Palace won the FA Cup, Newcastle won the EFL Cup, Chelsea won the Conference League and Club World Cup, and then Spurs won the Europa League. So, 5 or 6 different England teams. I can't remember the last time that happened, but I think it also just goes to show you where we are at football right now, where realistically you can't compete for every single trophy. Most mid-small table teams now have the money in the Premier League to compete with big teams to pay players. And something that I've said for a while, I know I'm going a bit off topic here, but I'm a little bit for me, a financial crisis coming in football. It's coming soon and quicker than people think. And as we saw today, confirmed, I think, by Fabrizio, actually, La Liga, Villarreal versus Barcelona is going to be played in Miami. A La Liga match is going to be played in Miami. I think we're going to be seeing a lot more Serie A La Liga teams and other teams, playing what would be games in their country in America for extra revenue and extra cash. I think the Saudi money, the Saudi influence is going to sort of also affect that as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if, for example, a couple of years, especially with the media attention on Saudi, that they go, hey, UEFA, listen, if you just admit 3 or 4 of our teams a year, a lot of them have come from Europe anyway. We're essentially an extension of the European League. Give us 4 spots, and we will give you access to the advertisement revenue that comes from being from the Saudi League, which is billions. So there we go. Sandra says, should prioritize midfield first and look at keepers? Yep, I've said this on this channel for a long time. That should be the priority. We cannot go into the season with United with a midfielder Bruno Casemiro. I don't know why Amorim wants to persist. Bruno's not a deep lying play midfielder. He's not. So I'm not entirely sure. I think for me, Amorim will live or die on the sword of playing Bruno that deep. He will. Now, whether he'll change it or not, I don't know, because he's the captain. Is his trust him? I get it, but this is the thing with favorites and things. And also United's obsession with makeshifting players into positions that they're not built to play. They've done this since Fergie left. Oh, this guy is a left back, but he can sort of play left centre back as well. So let's move him there. Oh, this guy is actually a right back, but now he can play right wing back, but also inside forward. Like, it's just get the players for the role. That's what I think. And for me, Bruno is not a deep lying playmaker. He's a number 10. That's what he is. And if you're going to make a 10-man deep, it's got to be disciplined. And I don't see if Bruno has that personally. I always tell my mates, Napoli, for example, had a tidy midfield, but their keeper, Alex Merritt, and most is just sort of keeper, non especially. So many things because exactly. Games are won or lost in the midfield. Games are won or lost in the midfield. And unfortunately, people have forgotten that while they pile on Onana, we need to get better call. We need to get better call. It's like, right, yes, but we also need to fix. We also need to score goals. We also need to. Some people say fix the back and go to the front. I do the opposite, because to me, football is an entertainment business. So for me, you fix the attack, you make it great. Then you fix the midfield. Then you fix the defense. And you fix the goalkeeper. Some people say it's the back from the back up. I don't believe that, because even if you get a good goalkeeper in, if your defense is crap, and if you can't score goals, you're just losing games. Whereas if you fix out the attack first, even if the other part is weak, because your attack is really good, you'll probably still be able to score a couple of goals and maybe win some games. That's the difference. That's the difference in my opinion. Thomas, subscribe already, put my own corner as we begin to run things up. I'm going to quickly check to see if there are any updates news before we head off. So big up punishing soul says very reliable United account. Devil's info _ says Chelsea offered around 30 mil in form bid for Garnacho test towards apparently. No, 30 mil, no. 40 mil. To be honest, you should be going for 60 mil, but it is what it is. I would go all in for the Sen Lambs and Baleba. I think Donnarumma. Yeah, this is the thing. I do think Donnarumma is a risk. I do agree with you. I do think I think he's a good keeper, but I agree with you that people are talking about this guy as if he's if he's world class. I don't think Donnarumma is a world class keeper. He's a good shot stopper in penalties, but he's not world class. Donnarumma has not reached the levels of even a peak De Gea. Peak De Gea still beats Donnarumma. doesn't touch, peak Buffon, doesn't touch peak Neuer, doesn't touch peak Courtois, doesn't touch peak Casillas. I'm talking about these doesn't even touch, I would argue, a peak Van der Sar or Schmeichel. Like, he's okay, he's all right, but like he, and maybe it's because we watched the game more, we're more critical of the game more, but I don't know, just from the eye test, I would agree. I'd agree. Rob, on your way out, guys, please hit the like button. Yep, and subscribe to our DS if you're new. If don't, it doesn't cost anything but helps. Exactly. Thank you, Rob and Atonement Mods. Keep on plugging, keep on pushing, keep on encouraging people to grind. I'm hoping before the season to get to at least 5K subscribers by the end of the year. That's my goal. So another 500 off plus. Let's see what happens. But we'll be back definitely this weekend for the pre. It's going to be busy. It's a busy week. Transfer news coming in. The season preview, and then we are doing the United Arsenal watch along, which is going to be peak. We might also do if I've got time midweek, potentially another show saying the best, starting 11 for Manchester United as well, based on what we've got so far. So that might be something that we might do. I might upload the video separately. Sandra, this is potentially the first United team in ages where we can see a solid set of attacking midfielders: Bruno, box-to-box Manu, DM, Ugarte, Casemiro. Mount finds form and Baleba. No, of course not. Though Mount, I'm still not sure what Mount does. He can be useful. He can be absent. So I do expect more from a number 7. But hey ho, we'll see what happens. And also, don't forget about Xerxes. You can come down into that 10 role as well. Devil's Info has a Fred of Info says that United go 50 or high 40s, would like a sell on, but think he might be unattainable getting 50 and a sell on. I will take 40 and a sell on. If we can get 40 and a sell on, I'll take it. 40 and a sell on, I'll take it. Third, anything less than 40, nah, do one. I'm sorry. He can rot in reserves and see what happens. Like, nah. We should be getting more. Worryingly, Matt Suarez. Oh yeah, that is a bit of a worry. That is a bit of a worry. I mean, we can play. We've got Euro, Heaven, and Maguire. I think. Yeah, so it'd probably be. I don't think Martinez is back either, so it would probably be Euro, Heaven, Maguire. Because I don't think Martinez is back yet. Sorry, maybe Maguire, Euro, and Delit. Sorry, with Heaven on the bench, and then Ahmad and Dorgu as the fullbacks. Everyone seems to be back except him. Interesting. I just hope it isn't his injury problem starting to catch up from the air. Possibly, yeah. I hear you. Let me quickly just look at the poll again. Yeah, I mean, should Garnacho be sold for less than 40 mil? About 50% of you are like, hell no. No. 38% of you say yes. So I think there are people that are you, and then 12% say rot in the reserves, basically. So it's unfortunate what's happened to Garnacho. I'd say a lot of it comes to himself though, but what can you do? But yeah, a lot of this is on him. I'm going to quickly, before I read the last few comments, I'm going to just quickly scour the Twitterverse just to make sure I'm not missing any breaking news that's come in the last, so obviously Jack Grealish to Everton, which is interesting. I think it's a good signing for Everton, to be fair. It's a very good signing. Let's have a look. Sesko will wear United shirt number 30, okay? Until he gets number 9 from Rasmus, I guess. Let's have a look. So Fabrizio is Indy Cali said anything? Calia, sorry. You know, apparently Vinny might be leaving. I don't know about all this. That's Indy Cali. What does Ornstein? Ornstein doesn't usually post this late, so I'll check. Just check Ornstein first, and then yeah, the Savino talks, and then Ben Jacobs. Those are my three right now, at least to give you something. Gus Poyet and Fabrizio. Okay. This thing is, I mean, I'm going to share this because before we exit, I do want to, because this has actually been bugging me for a little bit, and I do want to talk about it. Before we go, the Spanish Federation has approved the La Liga game between Villarreal and Barcelona to take place at Miami's Hard Rock Stadium. FIFA must also approve the fixture, with the first competitive La Liga match ever staged in America set to take place on 21st of December. I don't know. I think this is. I don't know why people aren't talking about this more. I think this is very, very worrying for football right now. But maybe there's pros and cons. I think obviously Barcelona, Madrid, a lot of teams around the world have a global audience, and so there is something to be said about playing these competitive fixtures to the audience that are there, especially if they're paying a lot of money. But then at the same time, I think, but it kind of defeats the objective of the whole home and away thing. Like, who's home and who's away? Like, they're not playing in their home stadium. So you basically are both playing away from home, not in front of your home fans. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. I think this is like I said earlier in the stream. I think this is worrying, and it just shows you that I think, to be honest, aside from the Premier League, a lot of other leagues, like I said, I think there's going to be football is heading for a financial crisis soon. And really, aside from the Premier League and Saudi, because they just have money everywhere, most leagues are going to struggle. The Champions League is the only lucrative option for a lot of clubs, and even then, that pales in comparison to the money that people get. You know, United had a terrible season. We still got £100 million from just existing in the Premier League. You know, was it 100 or somewhere between 75 to 100, something like that, for just existing? You know, that's more than any winner of any league title. So yeah, off topic, but it is that this trend is something that I'd be worried about. So I guess it's one of those things to sort of watch this space. I'll read your last comments and then we will bounce. Let's hope. We got Maguire, Delitio, Shaw, Heaven, and Fredrickson. Indeed, we do. I wonder when the Butcher will be back. Who do you think will be our starting 11 if everyone is fit? We are going to do a starting 11 thing, but if I was to do it off the top of my head right now, assuming no additional signings, so as in not including Baleba or Donnarumma or any goalkeeper, it would be Onana, then probably Delit, Euro, and Maguire, with Heaven sort of coming in as backup. Then Dorgu and Ahmad as on the wings. Then Bruno and Casemiro, because I think for some reason it looks like Ruben Amorim doesn't seem to rate Ugarte or Mainu. So I think he will start with those two, wrongly, in my opinion. Then the 2 10s will obviously be Cunha and Bremo, and then Sesko will be up top. That's what I think. I think Martinez will miss the first game games was the last thing I said. Yeah, exactly. He's not fit. I would take Jack G, but I don't know where he would play in the system though. That's the problem. In this system, if we're in the 4-3-3, I know where he could play. But in this system, where would he play? You know, especially because you've already signed Mbeumo and Cunha. You've also got Zirks who can play number 10 role. Like, I don't know where he would play. I don't rate the indie guy. I don't rate him either, but David Ornstein mentioned him. That's why I mentioned him. He gets news and holds it for 3 hours plus. Maybe. Artist, what is your sentiment in Newcastle regarding Isak? What have you been hearing on the ground? As someone who lives in Newcastle, what I've been hearing, I think people are a bit upset. I think that, you know, I think a lot of people after the trophy win, I think thought that Newcastle got into an era getting into a big club. But I think that this whole saga, I think, has knocked people down a peg in terms of where Newcastle kind of are. And I think it'll be up to the club to decide what they're going to do. Because at the end of the day, Newcastle don't have to sell. And they don't have to sell. I would be very surprised in a World Cup year, although I don't know if Sweden are in it, but I'll be very surprised if Isak doesn't play for Newcastle. You know, he says that he wants to go to Liverpool. I think, you know, let him go Liverpool, etc., do all these things. I don't know. And obviously you want to win trophies, etc. I get it. Yeah, I personally think it's to be honest, if my personal thing is that at the end of the day, the dude can just Newcastle can do what they want, because at the end of the day, they're the one that gave him the platform to do what he's doing. And you know, unless Liverpool pay a fee that Newcastle like and Newcastle will sell, it's not. He's got a contract. The same thing with Garnacho. Like, Newcastle aren't desperate for money, and also I think it would have been basically to summarize. If Newcastle had gotten Sesko, I think we'd be having a different conversation. Is what I'm saying. Atonement. That was the key. You know, if Newcastle got Sesko and he chose them, then I think that I think they would have sold Isak Lam to go and had the money, and they would have done it that way. Now that's not the case, and now you're thinking, right, okay, are we going to go for Jackson or not? Are we going to decide to go for Jackson? Because Nicholas Jackson has said he wants to go to Newcastle, but I don't know. I'd be very surprised if Newcastle agreed to pay 80 million for Jackson, but they might not have a choice. So I don't know. It's a bit confusing. Hasnain Rogers says Chelsea going to get Garnacho for cheap, and he's going to be sick. He's not going to be going. I mean, it's cheap in the sense that 40 million is cheap for somebody, but he should be going for less than 40 million, in my opinion. Your starting level is the same as mine, but only if we had Fred there. This is going to be a running joke between both of us. It's going to be a running joke. Right, time to head off, guys. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Remember, if you're new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter at Red Devil Studio X. Subscribe to my second channel, Red Devil Multiverse. We do a lot of anime, games, video, content as well on there as well. The new season is upon us, and I can't wait. And we will be doing a watch along to Manchester United versus Arsenal this weekend as well. I cannot wait. Have a nice day, guys, and cheers. Peace.